Hello. Today's episode is connected to health. What is this health it is? So there are a lot of determination of health, and I will tell you about determination I like. For me, health is freedom of life. And of course, disease, it's lack of freedom of life. What it means for me, it means that good health conditions allow you to do whatever you want without any restrictions connected to your ability to do whatever you want. And what do I want to do? It's again what we speak before about three sets of programs. One set is have our body functional, second set connect to our activities in frame of species needs, and third one, it's programs connected to supply needs of biosphere. So all of this three stuff, it's very important part for realization. We can do only when we have good health condition. So health is some kind of integrative data, integrative feelings, or integrative efficiency of all systems which function inside our body and supplies with energy, with support for our creativity, for our life. Before I continue to speak about health in our body, I want to speak a little bit more about very interesting laws of thermodynamics. For me, this is law represent of some kind of devil existing in our Earth. What is this? First law of thermodynamics says that if we have system, isolated system, that energy inside the system doesn't come from nowhere and doesn't disappear without any trace. So it's only transformed from one form to other. And second law of thermodynamics means that, again, if system isolated, chaoses or entropy in this system begin to increase with time. What it means? It means that everything will be destroyed to equal, like something big going down, some down, going up, everything connect to dust, and then even particles of dust will disappear. And temperature will be equalized. So what it means in practical life? First law of thermodynamics told to us that everything already used before we come here on the Earth, it's sale, used, or stolen. We have nothing to have, so we need to create some kind of activity to find whatever we need to supply our life. And second, that doesn't matter how good we're doing anything or build ourselves or do something else, everything falling apart and destroying. So somehow our life has analogy with, try imagine that you try to put castle from the bricks of sugar inside tea cup. So you put bricks on the top, on the bottom these bricks disappear and dissolve inside tea. So and everything going down. This is how our life functions. So to be able to create something, we need to do much more than simply put together, because from one hand we have assimilation, we have some kind of building on something, from other hand we have dissimilation or destruction, which happen always in our system. This law of our three-dimensional world where we live in. So it means that health and programs which support health and programs which support our life is programs which always created against law of thermodynamics, so they create our structures more sophisticated, more interesting, more strong than stream of our destruction. That's what means health. Health is energy, vital energy, which allowed us to resist this destructive force of the universe where we live in. So how we support ourselves during our life? We need to eat, we need to use energy, matter, and we rebuild ourselves always based on information which we have inside our system. Most of this system supported by genes, by genetic information, and of course very important one in our brain, and what our thoughts, what our vision, what our philosophy is, because it's also influence on how efficient we are living. So food. Food is source of material supply and energy supply. And it's very interesting that biosphere try to optimize their life, their existence here, come to very, I think, genius ideas to have small bricks of organic matter which will be identical for all living systems. It means that all animals have the same amino acids, nucleic acids, and sugars, and from these bricks we're able to build any kind of constructions which we name life body. And when we're eating these pieces of life body, we're receiving amino acids, sugars, and nucleotides. But it's very important to don't receive information from the body which we're eating, because it creates noise inside our body if we use wrong information for our structure. So that's why all food we're eating need to be digested to these bricks from what we can able to bring and build our own body. That's why we need to digest food. Very important, the most important part from information support is DNA or RNA. And you knew that it's almost impossible to keep RNA molecules outside of body for a long time, because RNAs, it's enzymes which destroy RNA everywhere. The same as DNAs. Because it's very important, it's very dangerous for species, for biosphere, if information begins to circulate without any control on some kind of random matter. Because in general it's possible to create so much informational noise that body couldn't exist. Second very important part, it's proteins. Proteins also, each protein has reflection from what body was created as proteins. So these proteins need to be destroyed for amino acids. What's happened if it doesn't happen? We knew a very nasty disease named mad cow disease, which also able to contaminate human being. What has happened? That cow eat prions, it's proteins from other disease sick cow, and what's happened? That they also began sick. So, other example of the same wrong digestion. You knew that recently, I don't know for sure how gluten from our crop, from our wheats which create bread was modified, how it was modified and what's happened with it. But if before people who couldn't digest gluten was 1 in million, now it's almost everyone has these problems. What's happened? Something happened with our digestive system that our enzymes couldn't digest gluten, these proteins from the bread, in the right manner. And what's happened? Inflammation. And these molecules of gluten go inside our body as one unit without digestion, and we have a lot of problems with our health conditions. So it's very important again, digest correct for all food we're eating for small pieces. So let's now think about what's happened and how our life exists. So we have our body. Our body is big numbers of living cells which organize somehow inside our body. And inside our body we have so-named internal media. Some kind of pH, oxygenation, nutrition distributed inside this body with some kind of law, some kind of matter. And it's very important when this constants, when this quality of internal media of body is correct. Because otherwise we begin sick. We couldn't function so efficient as we plan according of our genes. And this began other very important part and problems of our disease which come in more and more, that our intercell space began contaminate with some kind of insoluble globules of organic pieces. Most of them it's fat which go out of solution, some kind of carbohydrates which come to some kind of viscous globules. What has happened that communication between cells became not efficient like it need to be. The cells couldn't communicate, they couldn't send transmissions from each other, they couldn't accept right hormonal regulations. So everything create noise, houses, and again is reduce efficiency of our life. So as an example, almost everyone knew disease names Down syndrome, and we knew that this is what's happened during these syndromes. It's multiplication, one chromosome number 21 is trisomy. Instead, two chromosomes will have 3. So all genes correct. They are correct, they function pretty good, but amount of these genes higher than it need to be, and it's create informational noise inside cell. Cell couldn't function good as need to be, and it's create what? Again, noise on informational level, and a lot of ability, especially very important stuff as education, as intelligent, going down this kind of body toxic with extra genes, extra pieces. So very important. Again, keep internal media clean and efficient. And what very important, that our body need to receive nutrition, need to receive food, need to receive conditions which our body able to afford in the best way. I give you a small example of how the same food may be dangerous or very pleasant and very good for different people. For instance, you knew that nations who is living close to the North Pole, it's Evenks, Aleuts, Chukchis, all other stuff, they're Asian, but the major food for them are fish and meat from animals who eat fish, sometimes deers. This is it. So they almost doesn't have carbohydrates. So, but interesting enough that their diet is only meat and fat. Even fat for them is like candy. For kids, piece of fat is like some kind of sweet and very good, pleasant food. Carbohydrates they can find only a little bit in the short summertime as some kind of small, not very good berry, or from the liver of animals as glycogen. This is it. So these people adapted very good with their biochemistry system, adapted so good to digest meat, so they doesn't have atherosclerotic problems on the blood vessels, they doesn't have increase of cholesterol. So pretty good with this very strong meat diet. But what they doesn't have good alcohol dehydrogenase enzymes in the liver, which need to destroy ethanol spiritus, which come inside our body. What's happened with these people if they drink? They begin drunk. The ethanol circulates inside body pretty long time. They don't create any kind of headaches or any kind of weakness because alcohol very slow eliminated from the body with breathing. Some of them destroying with very weak alcohol dehydrogenase. And second cascade of metabolism of acetaldehydes is like ketone bodies metabolism, pretty strong and pretty good inside this body. So they begin alcoholics from immediately. So one drink enough to create this very bad habits. On the contrary, the same, not the same, but also Asian nation who is living in the south, where they don't have too much meat from the animals, but they have a lot of green stuff and vegetables and fruits. They very good adapted against ethanol. Their enzymes very strong. So they almost don't drink alcohol because there is no reason to drink. You drink alcohol, it's come to liver, destroying. You have headaches, or you have some kind of poison from ketone bodies, but no euphoria, no enjoy. Some smart people like Japanese, they invent very interesting drink names. Sake, yes. See, interesting. Sake. What is this? It's 20% of ethanol inside hot liquid, and sugar, with sugar. For need to be should be very not pleasant drink, but they drink it with very, very short swallow and keep it in their mouth for a long time. For what reason? In this situation, alcohol go inside body and the sublingual area and go directly to the brain. Instead go to the liver from the stomach. And they have pretty good feelings of be drinking, but for short time, because then blood go and circulate inside liver and doesn't inactivate all this ethanol which we have. So what it means with this example telling to us? That there's no good or bad genes general inside food. There's not good or bad diet. It's some kind of combination. So what kind of genes we have, what kind of stuff function more efficient inside our body, and what kind of food we're able to digest. It depends what kind of sets of information we have and how we can put together so to create the maximum efficiency during digestion and how to receive the maximum energy and support from food we're eating. So, the strategic approach for good health is create optimal conditions inside our body and outside our body for function all systems we have inside our body to have as much as possible health potential. For what do we need this health potential? Because with good health we can afford all our creative programs, all our interesting life, all our events which we're able to do when we have a lot of energy and very good health. It means we have freedom of life. So return back from the beginnings. Life, health is a freedom of life. What means disease? Disease is lack of freedom. And how disease happened? What's happened? What kind of phase of disease do we have? First, before exactly disease begins, and if our body, if we are living in not optimal conditions, we have time of pre-disease conditions. What it means? It means that situation outside or inside our body not exactly optimum for our life, but still acceptable. And what's happened first we decrease level of our health so low that after some step of destruction we doesn't have enough force to keep life we have. And disease begins. What means disease? Disease is decompensation. It's some kind of way of destruction. And disease also has several phases. So as soon as disease begins, pathogenesis begins, it's some kind of steps of disease development. First happened, so we reduce our activity, we have some restrictions for our life. Sometimes we feel not very good, we go to bed, we could move, we feel wrong ourselves. So what's happened? We slow down our activity, we're going down to disease, we begin to use our force, our energy potential, try to somehow adapt our body for damaging factor we have from outside or from inside our body, or we're looking for a way how to adapt it ourselves or how to avoid ourselves, how to remove ourselves from this damaging factor. So, in case if we found a way how to resist this damaging factor which exists outside, we're able to recovering. So, if it's infection disease, our immune system found a way how to defend itself, our body against intruders. If it's trauma, we found a way how to heal ourselves. If it's something else happening in our body, we found a way how to recover from this. If we don't, we go to the next step of development, because this destructive factor still exists and destroying our life more and more and more. And we go to the next stage of our destruction, then again, and finally our life potential goes so minimum, so low, that we inside our body activated force of death, some kind of programs which print inside us, which able to destroy or stop our life pretty efficient, because universe doesn't want to be suffering for a long time, because there's no hope for escape. Example of this, you knew that in our carotides arteries, which blood supply vessels supply with arterial blood our brain, in the neck area we have area from both sides of our neck, and if this area irritated, it may create impulses which by reflection stop our heart beating. Why it's happened? Because probably a long time ago, if someone hunting on ourselves and tried to bite our neck, it's exactly come to this area and we don't need to suffering anymore, we switch off our life and we die. A lot of other system in our pathogenesis also function this way. So many of treatment of disease, it's not recovering us from real disease, it's stop pathogenesis, it's stop way of destruction. But interesting enough that as soon as we're alive, as soon as we have many steps of disease developed, from each step we're able to recover completely and begin healthy again, maybe with some kind of restrictions, but still able to recover and begin exploit our life in future, if we do it correct way. If we don't, if we still keep these conditions which we have like we have, it creates sooner or later, probably sooner, conditions which not fit with our life and we die. So again, let me say that our life, it's very interesting event, some kind of stream, when force of life, force of our health, force of our existence try to build ourselves, try to build our body, our life against stream of destruction, of chaoses, of entropy. And so it's some kind of dynamical stuff. From one hand we build ourselves, from one hand destroying, and the beta have very strong health, which supply us with very strong life potential, which allow to us going against destruction, against routine, against boring life, to very interesting, full of adventures and interesting event life, which begin multicolor, happy and healthy. Thank you.